Okay, and welcome back to the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. I'm your host, Ale Wolf. As I like to say, I drink and I fail. Welcome to Friday. It is Friday in California. Today, as I am wont to do, I'll be tackling yet another chapter of the Travis Strikes Again No More Hero game. I don't know if it's really a sequel for No More Heroes 2, an interquel, maybe something of a side game. It doesn't matter, it's all good. Everything that comes from Pseudo 51's head is generally good. Later on in the day, we'll be going back to the world of the lands between and seeing how that particular venture goes. But before we do that, one last housekeeping note. You'll notice that we are starting slightly early today, and if you follow my Twitter feed, you will notice that I did suggest that an event is happening later this afternoon in which my attention is required with other Homo sapiens, and those don't happen too often, so I thought, why not? But still, thank you for coming in, joining the Ale Pack, as I say, and going through this adventure with us. Before we do that, of course, we'll go ahead and see what's on tap. So, avid viewers of the stream will remember this one. Our old friend, the Pink Elephant. This is a Delirium Tremens, and it's a Belgian Golden Ale. Not a golden ale, I think it's actually a triple. I should really get my details straight before I start trying to present these beers. So it's a Belgian strong golden ale. So I was right the first time. And let's see what Untapped has to say on the matter. That's quite a sizable description, and you probably can't see that. You don't need to see that, but let me go ahead and just go through the first paragraph here of this literary work. The allusion to pink elephants and the choice of names is not due to chance. With a particular character, the unique taste results from triple fermentation and the use of 3 different yeast strains. So I think it is a triple. Sweet, biscuit, malt backbone, supported by pleasant warmth and spice, finishes well-rounded, floral, and dry. It has a few more notes in terms of color, scent, and taste, but I think we can make up our minds ourselves. Delirium Tremens is definitely one of my favorite Belgian beers. It's actually one of the more popular ones. I think it wins contests every year, and it's always a staple in the house, in the ale den. Let's go ahead and pour this guy. As you see, definitely transparent. Certainly a filtered beer. I like to describe Belgian strong ales as having a fiery taste, and I know that that's characteristic, a flavor that I particularly ascribe to the yeast strain that is used for these particular beers. Fang an ale, Wolfkin. Certainly a dry finish, very crisp. I don't know that I've ever noticed a biscuit malt backbone, but certainly a rich malty backbone. Certainly nothing as heavy as a stout or anything of that sort, but you can certainly taste the greens in it. And yeah, quite sparkly. If I was to compare it to anything other than a Belgian strong golden ale, I would compare it to maybe like a delicious champagne, but in beer form. That's probably the best way that I can describe strong golden ales from Belgium. So I certainly recommend this one. I also just like the name Delirium Tremens. It's supposed to be a sleeping condition where you have tremors or you sleep. I don't know that it's necessarily a PC. I think at this point, though, the first thing that I think about when I hear about that term is this particular beer. So hopefully we're taking it back. Hopefully we're offending nobody. Enjoy your delirium tremens. But with that, let's move on to our game, which is why you're all here. Oh, and before I do that, let me go ahead and update my ticker. Always gotta update that ticker, otherwise you have no idea what I'm drinking. And what's the fun in that? And there it goes. Here.
Travis touchdown.
Yeah, I remember. He's the champ up above ground, huh?
And just adjust the camera just a bit.
Kill him and bring your daughter back.
I really like the intro
Then
movie
we're
to
all
this game.
square.
You smoking crack or what?
Sometimes I just leave
Bring
it
it
playing.
back.
That's, yes,
Charlotte.
we have seen it enough times.
Charlotte, we'll be seeing him soon enough.
Let's continue our game. And if you've been following along this saga with me, you'll recall that last I was here, I was trying to finish the chapter known as Life is Destroy. I think I named this stream after that. And I was having a lot of trouble with that last case. At least I think it's the last case. Case number 8. I think the setup, if you'll recall, was I'm in a neighborhood and I'm trying to switch around neighborhoods in order to work this maze, enter a mansion and kill some enemies. But then while I'm trying to solve that maze, there's a giant Dr. Manhattan head that is indestructible, and I have to kind of get away from it. And it's very frustrating. I hope it lets me start all the way at case 8.
I'll be back.
That was frustrating. It would be amusing if it forced me to start all the way at the beginning. Amusing for those of you watching. Certainly very painfully frustrating for myself. And there's the death drive. I just love the aesthetic on this. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the last toilet. And I think we'll be entering case number 8 very soon. Let's collect some coins before we do that though. I guess one of the issues with playing this game only every other week is the fact that I just forget my controls and I forget exactly what I was doing. And of course now I have to hear some repeating dialogue. I think we've seen this. I don't think we need to really let these guys talk. Next time we see them though, we'll actually catch up with them. Both the White Sheet Man and Bug Extra. What's the attack button? And charge. Okay. There's the toilet. I even also forget what the point of getting coins is. Let me see what can I even level up at this point? I have 2,000. So both my guys are at level 3. I think I want to save my next level up until the point where I can actually level them up both at the same time. Maybe give myself a bit of a challenge there. And let me set up skills. I don't actually remember what these do. Just load them. Again, this would have been an excellent game to play with a co-op partner. Actually, let me double check what those skills are actually. So Psycho Chip, that's my top. Fires multiple shots from the Death Glove, temporarily immobilizes characters hit. Okay, so that's like a gun. Wing Chip shoots a savage electric attack in a straight line and affects an area, so that's another shot. The Shining Chip binds characters and blows them away freely. So this is the one that is like psychokinesis. I still don't know how that works, but it's really nifty whenever it does work. And then the regeneration one, in which you have to just stay in a circle in order to get that health boon. And this is how you activate it. Alright, this is the part that I feared, but so it goes. At least I've got my beer. And even though this stream is live, I still haven't committed the sin of drinking in the AM. Not yet anyways. Case number 8, here we go. You know, I've actually, in the interim this morning, I decided to watch like a video of how to actually get through this part. And it still didn't make any sense to me, so we are just going to do our best, I guess. And you know what, let's go ahead and kill these guys first. Yeah, and so this is the primary foe in this area, which I really don't care for. Just everyone die. Can I keep moving? Yes. Okay. And so really it is about trying to make sure that you stay ahead of the curve with this guy, while at the same time trying to solve the puzzle, and nothing really stops him. I don't know. But that looks nice though. Maybe? Where is the main house anyways? Okay, so it's over there. Whoa, hey. I keep forgetting that one of them is the roll button versus the jump button. I think I've got my controls reversed simply because of what is it? Monster Hunter Rise. Okay, that should be fine. That looks good. I think the main thing that I got out of the strategy that I was reading is make sure that there is a straightforward path into the mansion, which I'm not going to do if I keep doing this. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Maybe like this? No, it's still not. This is gonna take some good trial and error. So do bear with me. If the next hour and a half is me just trying to play this thing, then so be it. also not dead. So all I would really need to do there... Ah, I keep closing myself here. So maybe... that. What am I getting wrong here? There's a long path here. Really, that's the main block that I need to turn. And it only happens... these, maybe. Okay, let's give that another shot. Of course, my vision is getting cloudy because I'm getting... just a little bit. The heat is on, as they say, or the H is O. How about this? Will that work? Tell me that will work. Okay, it looks like it might work. Hey, I think we did it. I think we did it, guys. Look at that. Okay, now just don't die here. Is the main thing. Jeez, this is what happens when the situation gets tense. Your goggles just fog up. They just fog up. Clearly, I need to drink more too. Okay. So, White Sheet Man. Doppelganger always makes the final blow himself. With guns, it's always point blank. The holes in the wall are from lining up his victims and executing them one by one. Oh, wait. What is the thing? Now I remember it's the R button. Sorry, the L button. Whoa. Should I just try and kill this guy first? I think I should. Okay. At least that will get rid of that guy. These punks. What's shooting at me now? There's more of these guys? Ah, missed both of them. How long does this guy take? Jeez. Go ahead and charge my beam sword here. Why is there... They just love to hide these punks. And I can't forget. Nice. Okay, so everything looks okay around here. I really hope I get to save before meeting the fight. the final boss, I do believe. Probably show up here. Who is this? Bug Extra? Grandpa's words of wisdom. Don't believe music. 80% of music is drugs. The other 20% is pharmaceuticals. Is that what you call inspiration? Always a savvy one. Nice. Oh, beautiful. What? Threw that guy over there. Who's attacking? One of the things that I bring back simply from No More Heroes is just the fact that I can't help but charge my beam sword every time. And healing. Okay, we're back at 100%, which is nice. Which is nice. But... what? Thought it was gonna do my special attack, but I guess it didn't. Okay. These drill bugs. Hey, you didn't let me command. Okay, that's it. So annoying. Oh, these guys have shields, maybe? Nice. Whoa. Hey, this guy's tough. Why can't I... I need my chips back. Maybe I can change to Batman for a second, because I feel like I'm gonna die here. That's... no. Can you just change to Batman for a second?
Play ball.
And level up in skills. Sorry to have to cheese it, but like I said, I really don't want to go back to that maze area. But that is what we do on the Ails and Fails Twitch stream. We might not do it the classy way, but we certainly do it with style. Gotta roll some more. There you go. Batter up. Wait, but there's still an enemy here. How's that? Okay. And I guess house is clear. That's surprising. I think after this we'll actually switch characters and go back to Travis. No, actually we'll stick with Batman. But I do want to recharge him.
I will be back.
And the only way that you can charge up is by going to a toilet. And actually, let me go ahead and check whether or not I currently have enough experience to level these guys up. Okay, power recovered. Nice. Level up in skills. About 500 more to go. That's fine. Let's go ahead and change characters. Give Batman a spin for a while. And I do like the animation of him just spitting in it, alcohol in his bat in order to power it up, as opposed to the being katana. Is there anything that I missed here? Kind of a dark house. Bug Extra is there with his words of wisdom. You know, I'm starting to think that the bug motif is supposed to be suggestive of games. Incredible intuition, clearly. Nothing else here. Alright. Let's get out of here. The emptiness of static. Can never see my clock behind this microphone. Oh, am I back out here? You tell me that this is another case. Everything looks different, actually. It's like a sepia tone. Okay, straightforward thus far. And who might this be? It's our friend White Sheep Man. Batman, you're familiar with insanity. You can feel it, can't you? Doppelganger's digitalization has increased his purity as a killer even further. Don't hesitate, otherwise you're screwed. Okay, I'll do my best. It looks like this is a straightforward path, which, thank goodness, I am done with the maze building and the... Is this a toilet? Yes, this is a toilet. Let's go ahead and use it. This is probably the end of this area. Maybe. Give me 1 second here. Of course, Mom sending me messages. Call your mom, folks. She only cares about you. Here we go. Is this the doppelganger? I love the scarf. My name is Doppelganger Patrick Granada Jr. That is some name. I'm a professional killer. Would you get in my way? Professional killer. What's the difference between that and a serial killer? Or an assassin? Or a regular ass murderer, huh? Anyway, this game is BS. The developer really sucks. She's a genius. I gave birth to her and she gave birth to me. A perfect cycle. A true succession. At least it's easy to tell that you are crazier than her. Anyway, whatever. It's just that much easier to kill you. Mwahaha, you make me laugh. You think an assassin can kill a killer? See for yourself how different we are. How different we are, huh? So this is like one of those MMA fights, huh? The ones with the soft and hard styles. Okay, let's do this and see just who gets killed after all. Here's my doppelganger technique. One hit, and you're dead. That's ominous. Bring it. I've always been good at dodging beam balls. I can hear the sound of blood coursing through your veins. Now it's time to kill. You mean it's time to get killed? I'm ready to go. Come at me anytime. Okay, this one-hit kill thing. Oh, that poise, I love it. I think I might try and stay away. Fortunately, we saved right before this, so we can try this as many times as this needs. Wait, well, he killed me, right? No, he didn't. Now. Whoa. Where is he? Doppelganger 2. What? Don't tell me I'm gonna get, he's gonna multiply or something. Or I guess he did multiply, sort of. Oh, and there he was. Alright, what is this cards? Should I believe in the heart? Nice. Oh hey, it's worse than Kaiba. What? Where is he? Move. Doppelganger 3. What? I hope this is the final form. It's been manageable thus far, but I don't want to take any chances. That was proposed, but it got scrapped for spec reasons. What? I really love these guys breaking the fourth wall. It's quite compelling. Don't worry about it. I was just thinking out loud. Change Doppel 3. This guy's like a ninja. Okay. Clearly that wasn't it. Maybe? And threw everyone against each other. Get out of the cards, get out of the cards. I'm trying to heal up over here just a bit. Let's go.
Slugger. You win.
Yes. Home run. Okay, that was cheesy even by my standards, but I definitely enjoyed that. Bang a nail. Rank S. I'm surprised. The Psycho chip. I think that's the psychokinetic one. That was a good fight though, I'll give it that. What the heck just happened to his face? You managed to defeat me, so this is what an assassin is. This is the truth. It's now clear that you're just like me. You're just greedy. You've got a bigger boner for killing than anyone else I've ever seen. But you're short on something crucial. Human emotion. That's not true, assassin. I am full of joy and happiness. Having joy without sorrow means you're just an empty specter. Sorrow. What? Spend some time sightseeing in hell. You'll figure it out. All the sorrow and pain will fill that hole real nicely. Hell. No, no, no. Mama, mama, mama. And it goes on. Help me. You're not even human anymore, just a demon. I'll kill you. Is the fight not over? Doppelganger had become less than human. I think he would have been satisfied being beaten by you. He's still at large in the real world, though. I guess I need to be careful. Good advice there. I'll never get tired of seeing that. An F91 chip. That sounds cool. I hope it's cool. Okay. So what's next? Just how is everyone's Friday moving along? Oh, wait a second. Doppelganger wasn't even a weirdo, a pervert, or a psycho. He was just a straight-up murderer. His soul's still wandering that city, most likely in search of his daughter. Is that his atonement? No. And as you can see from that scene, Travis is wearing that Undertale shirt that I decided to put on him. He was just an arrogant effing snob, always looking down on people. How full of it. Fax received from Kay. Let's check it out. And a fax received from Jean. Jean the cat, or Jean the girlfriend. A new scenario has been added to Travis Strikes Back. Head for your motorcycle. And I believe these scenarios are how we discover additional death balls. Yes, let's save. Thank goodness we're never going back into that world. The fights were really fun, but just the puzzle element was not... I mean, I suppose it's crafty, and I do appreciate the thought behind it. But the real concern to me was... The real concern to the Aelwolf, that is just trying to work my way through that while hosting a Twitch stream where I drink. Imagine that. So let's check out the PC. T-shirt shop, ramen blog. Forget what my accepts are. So we've collected a number of ramens, but have we collected all of them? Good beer. I love it. This is what we've been looking at every time we go through what do you call it? Every time we go to the ramen shop and then we collect a new ramen. So this is the Opera Soba. I'd read this, but you know what? Maybe another time. I don't think you came for me to read you ramen blogs. Let's check out the old fax machine, very 90s. From K from King of Fighters, maybe? Oh, there's a new one. Travis Touchdown, you've come this far, then allow me to congratulate you on clearing the game. You're the first human to ever manage to clear 2 Death Drive games, and honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I've been sending these over and over hoping that you'll give up and turn back, but the fact that I'm about to run out of paper apparently means that you have no intention of doing so. In that case, hopefully telling you who I am will provide my message with a bit more authority. My name is Clark. I'm Dr. Juvenile's lover. What comes after clearing these games is nothing short of a tragedy for the entire human race. I just pray that you don't end up becoming the one to pull the trigger on this strategy. tragedy. God bless America. Okay. Well, what's a big red button without somebody to push it? And Gene? Electric Thunder Tiger 2. I'm currently in a dark, wide open place. It seems really high up. I can't see the bottom when I look down. It's like looking down into the abyss. I can feel something looking back at me. I'm completely lost. Please come for me quickly. I wonder if that's supposed to mean that I need to go back to Electric Thunder Tiger 2. That was actually the first game that we played in this game. The first game that we played in this game, that makes a lot of sense. The first level of this game, that makes a little more sense. So obviously there's two games. Electric Thunder Tiger 2 was the first one. Life is Destroy. We finished it on mild. Can't believe we got a rank S on this though. That's kind of insane. Let's go look for another death ball. Batman, any just spending a happy evening like I would like to do. This is Batman's car, and this is the Speltiger. I think that's how that's pronounced. Let's find that death drive ball. Let's continue. Like there's scenarios to choose. So we finished scenario 1 and it was a pretty long story. Let's just choose continue and assume that it'll send us to scenario 2. Number 2. Magic Tiger of the Mount. Let's go, Gene. And Gene is our cat, I guess. Wait a second. Go where exactly? To find the death balls. Is there a problem? So we're doing this like a visual novel, huh? There's no reason not to. Them's the rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Didn't they teach you that in school? That's just common sense, even for cats. So what's your problem? Come on, spill your brains. The spike just won't stop. The death balls await up past the wind. That was poetic. Listen up, Travis. Most of these gamers bought this game expecting a goddamn action game. So they don't want a buttload of text. And yet that's what you're listening. Get it? Hold up. So what am I supposed to do? What, you worried about our Metascore? You scared of gamer reviews? If that's how you feel about it, then quit. Seriously? You're cool with just ending the series here? No, we're not. Just scrap plans for a big old number 3. If you're fine with that, then go ahead. The Travis Track Back Digest. Coffee and Donuts was an original title for the Death Drive MK2. Natsuma was a famous Taiwanese game creator. Juvenile was a huge fan of his SRPGs. What does S stand for there? They began the project after she sent him fan mail. Natsuma's most famous title was Eternal Organic Battle. The balance between story and gameplay was perfect. Natsuma sent over his storyline. A group of revolutionaries battle against corrupt politicians. They use smart and guerrilla tactics to fight against the government. The story of the resistance. They say Natsuma's brilliant story made juveniles cry. Anyway, I go and meet with a hardcore Natsuma fanboy. Oh, there he is. A Natsuma fanboy might have coffee and donuts. Fanboys talk like a lot. I sat through 2 hours of Natsuma fanboy talk. Finally, I was able to ask about the death ball. I found out that the Texas Bronco Donuts chain purchased coffee and donuts in an auction. The plot thickens. I receive an invitation to Texas Bronco. They send me through the owner's room. It's a really pimped out, luxurious room. Rich people have class. The furniture is all casino. The rug is Persian. We give a toast with scotch. Turns out the owner knows me. Apparently, he'd seen my assassin ranking fights on pay-per-view. He paid $3 million per fight. The championship fight cost $10 million. The United Assassins Association made crazy bank. So anyway, turned out he was a fan of mine. He brings the death ball out from a hidden room. He said he wanted to make Batman's dream come true. What? Why does he even know that guy? Turns out when Batman played for the Astros, the owner had been a famous pitcher and Batman's teammate. Blew out his shoulder 3 seasons in and retired. He tells me Batman was a great catcher. I don't give a... He had an amazing arm. Must have, with that swing and all. Finally, the owner tells me his name. Nigel McAllister. The legendary pitcher. I'm a huge McAllister fan. Well, now we know why Batman is so good at the bats. Gene and I take the death ball and head home. Let's go, Gene. How was that? Nice one. Just the right amount of text. I would agree with that. Your Metascore just went up 5 points. For reals? I don't know. I'll kill you. Let's go home, Travis. Batman's waiting. Okay, so that was definitely a little less text than that first one, which I'm glad for because my throat can't necessarily take all that all at once. A new article has been added to the archives. Deathball acquired. A new game is playable. So that's game number 3. Yes, let's go ahead and save. And I think it's time for a shirt change. I wonder if they sell replica jackets. That is cool. So somehow we unlocked all the shirts already. They don't need to really buy anything. It's just funny that they put that right there at the beginning of the game. Disco Elysium, Double Kick Heroes. I wish I had like preview of what they look like. Death Drive. Are these just... Oh, I see. Life is Destroy. Carlos Setagaya's Drive and Death game review. Worth buying 3.15. Can you escape this game's horrible pleasure? You can't actually make the text. Well, you kind of can. Like in that first paragraph, it's like a mix of puzzle and outer. Oh, that's what that is. For a minute there, I thought it was the sort of thing where they give you text but you're not actually supposed to read it. Doppelganger was once a social worker helping out young people who had fallen through the cracks of society. This guy is ultra effed up. Collect the death ball for a real eye-opener. Wipe out the pickled buggeroo to level up. They're pickled? I wonder if that's actual codes. Recover HP with command input. I was hoping that they would tell us what the name of the Dr. Manhattan thing is called. Master Tarogita. What color is the blood of the most terrible criminal in U.S. history? That's interesting. But what about coffee and donuts? What about coffee and donuts? Fear can enslave you, hope can set you free. Addictiveness 4.17. Brian Buster Jr. Looks like there's mechs involved here. Wooden suit. A king transformed into a robot and his pilot, the blind prince. Play a that tape and reverse to hear an evil curse. This will let you hear a special version of Sylvia's answering machine message. I miss Sylvia. Wipe out pickle buggeroo to level up. Okay. I don't know that this is that useful. But it's certainly cool that it's there. Where do we change clothes? Is there a closet area here? Maybe it's just a start menu actually. Character select. Stats, options. I guess mild is the medium level. I was thinking that we had been playing on easy this entire time. I'm fine with mild. Mild is good. Though in real life I like hot. T-shirts, there we go. For Travis. Overblade. I don't know what's good. Shout out on the chat. Saturday morning RPG. The Swords of Ditto. Gods will be watching. Don't really want to make a political message. The Hatoful boyfriend. Let's go with that. Let's see what we can do for Batman. Actually, do they even have the same selection of t-shirts like what I find Undertale here? That looks cool. But I like that color on that. So maybe return to Murphy's Law. I actually think that they might be different. Super hot. Let's go with super hot. Okay. And with that, let's take a quick bio break. I will be right back, folks.
don't forget, I came here to kill your ass. Little gamer thinks he's hot shit, huh? Going inside a video game? Fucking bullshit.
Alright, and we are back. Let's go ahead and take on Deathball game number 3. So, coffee and donuts, given to us by a rabid fan gamer. Let's go ahead and move on with Travis. And maybe at this point we can level up. He did just defeat a boss, so we should have enough experience points, hopefully, in tow. For your viewing pleasure. Can't get enough of that. Interesting. What is even happening here? That's the guillotine. That looks like early PC 3D game models. Or maybe like PlayStation 1 era graphics. Okay. So, underneath the quicksand there was a mech made of wood. Now I've seen everything. Coffee and donuts. Do I get to be in the mech? That would be nice. The Terminator entry. Do I get to control both guys at the same time now? Hello. Hello. On pleasant days like this, I always worry that something untoward is going to happen. Well, we've come to this new game world, so let's find the boss. Yes, let's hurry up and clear the game. Does he imitate me at all? Once again, let me go ahead and check whether or not I can actually level up. So yeah, I think I can level up both guys. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, I have to hold it.
Go ahead, kid.
Nice. And then let's do the same for Batman. I guess I'll do it when I change to him. So let's load our preset. And let's go and see if there's anything cool that we can also use. Shining chip. We did get a new chip just now. So an F91 chip creates a doppelganger to draw in enemies. This appears after a set amount of time or after taking a set amount of damage. So it's like an extra guy. That's kind of cool. I want to try that. Heavy chip generates an area within which enemies will be slowed down. That seems pretty self-explanatory, but I thought there was another chip that did the same exact thing. Was it? No, that is what I was talking about. What about this, the double O chip? Performs a quick dash. Why is that useful? Let's keep our... What is this, Psycho chip? And keep the Shining chip. I really like the psychokinetic power here. Maybe the one that I'll replace is the Wing chip with F91 and see what happens with this. That should be kind of fun. Oh, I can actually level them up right now.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe I'll just leave him with some presets just in case that he actually does do things on his own. And let's give him the double O chip. I wonder if he will actually do stuff with it. Yeah, so we're both at level 4. Let's see what we can do here. I like the fact that despite the fact that these are different games, you still get to control. Oh, sorry. You still get to control your guy however you want it in the same way. 1-on-1. Before we go into any of these rooms, let's go and see and check out what's here. This reminds me of the Resident Evil 1 mansion, except for the fact that the music is snazzy, so I'm not actually concerned. White Sheep Man has a new face. I wonder how long it's been since anyone's visited this hall. You're looking for the boss of the mansion? I don't know what a boss is, but I know this mansion's master. He was known for having put an end to the brutal war. His name was Brian Buster Jr. Well, he's called a junior. He's actually a white-haired old man around 70. Brian Buster Jr. was a man burning with vengeance. After his father was killed, he destroyed the opposing army. I've heard that he is now somewhere in this mansion. If this information proves useful, good luck on your way. Okay, so we're looking for a junior of about 70 years of age. Class A. It's 104. 105. Is it just me, or maybe that's the only one that's not blocked by something? 106. And of course there's the toilet, which at some point we will have to get back to. Oh, I see. So the ones with this flashy colors are the ones that don't open. At least not yet. And what is this? Are there also doors here? Yeah. Okay, let's start clearing some rooms. Let's just finish looking over this side. Okay, so both upstairs locations as well as this vault are closed off. Can you actually step out? No. Yes, I got it. This one. Pretty basic stuff. Bug Extra. Grandpa's words of wisdom. Catherine, coffee goes best with the Japanese sweets called Shirataman Mitsu. Try it, you'll be amazed. Keep that one in mind. Did you guys just block me off? Okay. I guess that's why they implemented the jumping feature in this game, specifically for that section of the game. Anything else around here? Okay. So that was door 102. I think 101 is... no. Can't open that one yet. $105. Whoa, hey. Oh my god. The old man has collapsed. He's dead. Was this your doing? When we arrived, he was already... The white-haired old man. Isn't this who we were looking for? There are no clues anywhere. How about asking him directly? Offer him coffee and donuts, his favorites. Out of sheer happiness, the spirit remaining in his body should tell you something. Where can we get those? The bugs in the desert and the forest stole them and ran off with them. This is deep. Death and Drive. They're behind one of the doors in the mansion. I'm getting a vibe from the door to the side there. Death Drive, thank you for your help. So I guess we're gonna have to collect coffee and donuts then. Let's go find them. So these guys are Death and Drive. This is the old man, I guess, that we are trying to look for. Should be nice to have a double jump. That would have been fun. So that's door 105. I think there's one more open here. 106. Maybe we'll finally have a fight on our hands. Want a stack of stone. I wonder if I should be hitting things. I also know that I'll hurt Batman if I do that though. I will hurt Batman. That makes a lot of sense. What about this door? Did I already go here? Okay. Whoa, hey. And now I'm by myself. Seems like a very linear path. Okay, mechanics still work the same. Do one of these. Hello. Oh, it's like a training dummy. Oh, but he doesn't actually move much. Oh, huh. That was not well spent. So far, this place is like a beat 'em up. No need to waste my extra powers or chips on this. And I wasted my power up on what I thought was a special enemy. You couldn't actually tell whether it was in the foreground or background, but Hit that guy instead. That is some extreme aggression. Go ahead and charge up. While I charge up in real life. So back to 100%. If I remember correctly, the stats are such that Travis has slightly more attack, whereas Batman has slightly more defense or a health pool. So I guess it is certainly easier to tackle these simpletons with Travis. It just makes sense. Oop. The Bug Street Boys. What are you doing here? This is mine. You're gonna die. These guys are not that tough. They're kind of just waiting for me to destroy them. Is that it? Okay.
Coffee.
Oh, we were looking for coffee, so that was good. It seems that defeating the bugs fixed the bugs in the mansion. We may be able to go somewhere new now. That's what I thought. Let's go ahead and save our game. Before I do anything like that. Recovered. I think we might be wrapping it up here, folks. Unless the next room is slightly easier than 1 of 3. Oh, this is new. Can you actually go behind the doors? You know what this reminds me of? And maybe some of you might have felt this already, but Paper Mario, the Wii game, the Paper Mario from Wii. What? Spielbug. Hold on a second. I just heard that ever important text button. Okay, so let's try and take this fight on, and then we'll wrap up. Where's the big guy? Was that the big guy? And there he goes. Didn't really need that much of a... strategy. I think these fights would probably take a bit more strategy if I was in a 3D environment. Here's wondering what game inspired this particular level. And I know it is slightly 3D because, like I said, there's a foreground and a background, but it's so slight it doesn't even matter that much if I do my ground pound. You know? Maybe it does. Barely. There's that drill guy again. Here, have that guy. Whoa, hey, I got hit on that one too. Where did he go? Whoa, I thought I jumped out of the way. And there he goes. Hey. Jumps out of the way. I attacked the wrong guy. Some good chips on that one. Before we move on though, gotta make sure I use this skill chip as often as possible. No real time to heal in like big battles. Nice. Oh, there's a platform. Like a platformer, maybe? What is this? Oh. Of course. It is a platformer. I know you can actually drop. Is there anything behind here? Higher. Higher. Which way to go? Oh, what? Get on this side. Oh, you totally missed the guy. Is that an extra life? Is that what that was? Some tiny platforms here. Oh, I was just about to take a sip. Trusty old ground pound. Jeez, dude. Okay, let's keep going. Just a second here. Some precision platforming. Get out of here, pesky bee. Can I actually... No, not yet anyways. This is no good, is it? Bag Sputnik. Who the hell are you? Get out of here. You're gonna die. Well, that was uneventful. Ooh, the donut. That's what we wanted. Can we actually go back to that platform though? No, I guess not. So we have coffee and donuts. Might this be the conclusion of this chapter? We will have to wait to find out. How about asking him directly? Offer him coffee and donuts, his favorites. Out of sheer happiness, the spirit of remaining in his body should tell you something. That's how that works. Let's go ahead and save. We're wrapping up with Travis Strikes Again. Whew. Made it. Okay. Let's go ahead and go into an intermission. So that was Travis Strikes Again for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed finishing Life is Destroy because that Dr. Manhattan kind of just kept me awake several nights. But after this and after the break, we'll be moving on to Elden Ring with friend of the stream, John. So if you're interested in seeing how well I perform in my beginning hours of Elden Ring, please stay. And if not, I'll see you next week at this time. I stream on both Thursdays and Fridays. Thursdays is more retro themed, whereas Fridays I'm bouncing between this game as well as Hades. So whether I see you after the break or next week, stay thirsty, Wolfkin. Okay, and welcome back everyone to the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. I'm your host, Aelwolf, and as I like to say, I drink and I fail. Today we are back in the world of the lands between for another go at Elden Ring. I have to admit I haven't played too much since last we played, but so it goes. Maybe it'll be a slow burn. This afternoon we have the good fortune of being joined with a friend of the stream, John. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. Can't say that I've been playing too much in the meantime either, so I guess we're both jumping into this fresh.
Have you run into a boss? As they say, I believe I read somewhere that there are bosses in this game.
So yeah, I did run into a boss within the castle area, which I think is where you're headed. So I was able to actually beat him last time. And so now I'm basically in the area right after that boss.
Well, that's pretty impressive. To be perfectly honest with you, all I've been doing is trying to collect I don't know what you call experience points, shards to level up. I've been trying to collect those by picking off soldiers, all in the name of getting my character to a level upable state so that I can wield certain weapons and up my strength stat. So I haven't really done too much, too far, but let's see if we can be a bit more adventurous today, shall we? So, but before we do
the
that,
number, by the way, is called runes.
the what?
The number, like the currency, the stuff they use to level up, it's called runes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you for that reminder. Somehow it was at the tip of my tongue, but I wasn't gonna try to make it up. But before we do that, though, let's go ahead and check out what's on tap, as we tend to do. Friends of the stream, and I'm sure you might remember this, John. This is a North Coast Old Rasputin, which is a Russian Imperial Stout. Do you remember this at all?
Yes. But by yes, I actually mean no, I don't. Because I have a terrible memory.
That's fine. So Old Rasputin is a stout, which means that it's a darker beer. It's got a light body, as with most stouts I like. And I honestly don't know what is added in terms of flavor by it being called a Russian Imperial Stout. Generally, whenever I see that moniker, it suggests that it is a stout of higher alcohol concentration. And this itself runs at 9%, which is very respectable. Let's see what Untapped has to say on the matter. Produced in the 18th century English brewers who supplied the court of Russia's Catherine the Great, Old Rasputin seems to develop a cult following wherever it goes. It's a rich, intense brew with big, complex flavors and a warming finish. So it's never been one of my favorites, but due to its alcoholic strength and convenient pricing, I tend to gravitate towards it, and you'll always find a 4-pack in my refrigerator. So fang and ale, dear viewers, and John to you as well. So quite malty. I would definitely say bitter. It's not my favorite flavor, but it does just connote that idea of just like strength. Very strong beer. I certainly recommend it if you're looking for something that will suggest to you what the Imperial Russian style is. And let me go ahead and update my ticker before we get started. How's your Friday been treating you thus far?
It's been going pretty good. Before we actually veer off the topic of beer, I was a little curious since I am pretty much the beer noob.
Are you
among
beer
your guests.
curious, John? Is that what you're suggesting?
I guess you could say that, but since I am the beer noob, I guess I will ask the silly question. But I guess you said that the alcohol content of this particular beer was like 8 or 9%, if I'm remembering correctly. What is like the highest amount percentage that you've drunk in beer that I guess you can still consider a beer, and then what is the smallest percentage that you've drank, I guess, before it becomes just completely non-alcoholic?
Well, I think anything below 0.5% is considered non-alcoholic. Or, no, wait. I think it might be a little less than that. And that's where you go into like kombucha territory, which is fermented tea. Um,
Mhm.
but in terms of highest alcoholic contents, I would say some of the or quads or quadruples or just strong ales. Barley wines are closer to like 12% is the highest that I've had. I think once you step into the 15% range, you're talking about things like wine, and of course 20% is really your spirits. So I don't think I've seen any beer touch go past that 12% to be honest with you. But I'm sure there's something like that out there. I haven't tasted it, and I can't say that I am eager to taste something like that because I feel like it might take away from the beer experience.
See what you mean. That's fair enough. Um, I don't remember if I heard this from anywhere reputable, or maybe I'm just making it up entirely. But I think I could have sworn I heard that I think you can only get while you're brewing beer, you can only get to a certain percentage before. I think before it plateaus or it stops. I'm not sure how true that is, but have you heard anything similar to that?
Well, I think the main issue with higher alcohol percentages is that once you get to a certain percentage of alcohol in a batch, you start killing off the yeast, which is what makes the alcohol in the first place. So you essentially have a lot of yeast cells dying because of their own poop, um, which is a
I
fun
see.
concept to think about. I guess if you were swimming in a swimming pool and you peed and pooped enough, eventually you would kill yourself.
I guess so.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this thing. I believe I'm supposed to go north and go into the castle. You know, one of the things that I have, so for one reason or another, I decided to like listen to podcasts about how much people like this game, and I think it's wonderful. I am very much looking forward to getting past these initial levels. But one thing that I kept hearing back and forth is just the fact that while people respect every aspect of how this game was made, one thing that everybody hates completely is just the fact that the map button uh, is not the same as canceling the map.
Really,
Alright,
I
I just
haven't
got...
noticed that at all.
Wow, and I am dead. I was killed by a pack of wolves. I didn't even
That
realize
doesn't
there was a
sound
pack of
very
wolves here.
Aelwolf of you.
No, it's not. These are supposed to be my kin. Clearly they were not ale wolves. I'm gonna have to find my, what did you call them? Runes?
Yes, runes. By the way, I think in that place where you spawned, there might be a person to talk to. I don't know if you've already spoken to them.
Oh, I did. I got the, I forget what it's called.
I think they give you the jellyfish.
Yeah, I got the jellyfish, though I have never used it. Actually, these wolves are pretty easy to kill. It's just that they ganged up on me last time. Oh, and one other thing that I heard about from the retelling of people going through these initial levels is that apparently in that like gate guard location, there is actually like one other summon that you can get, and it's like a mimic maybe, or maybe I'm imagining things. But I'm gonna go back in there and try to clear it out.
Hmm.
You're
By
like,
the gate guard area. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
mean like the place near, like right after you exit the tutorial dungeon?
Yeah. Yeah, the town of Friends. You remember the town of Friends?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess the town of Friends is a little bit closer to the castle.
I'm writing back, and now I remember that I could have just simply teleported. That's okay though. Oh, and there I go. Clearly, I should have just teleported. By the way, do you happen to be watching this stream?
Yeah, I do have it up.
Okay. I was just going to suggest that clearly I need one more person to see how poorly I'm doing. I'm gonna try and collect those runes again. Oh yeah, and since last time I got a great sword and a great shield, which doesn't help this rolling ability. Look at this. Beautiful in how slow it is.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to have a role like that, which is obviously not a great opportunity because I think it also drastically reduces the amount of invincibility frames that you have.
But it's so satisfying to kill people with this. You have to admit.
With the greatsword, yeah, I agree. I think I might also have a greatsword, but I definitely use a lighter shield.
And there's my runes. I wonder if I should just summon my pack of wolves and then see what happens. Let's give it a shot. I feel like I've been saving all these things and never using any of them. Look at that. All of the ale wolves hanging out.
It is a pretty nice coincidence that the first summon that you got was wolves. It's pretty thematic.
Alright, here we go. A double encounter. What? My wolves didn't... I honestly thought that they were going to do a bit more than that. And of course now my corpse is in the middle of the town of Friends, which is just great.
So did you hear that Better Call Saul had its season finale this past Monday?
Yeah, I did hear about that actually. Did you watch it already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I finished watching the first season, or sorry, the last season of Better Call Saul on Sunday, and so basically I was ready for the season finale on Monday, so I was able to catch it and able to avoid all spoilers. It's pretty nice. I will say that so I did like the ending, but it definitely is a different ending compared to like Breaking Bad's ending. I think Breaking Bad was definitely a lot more, how do you say, a lot more explosive. And I guess it makes sense for this show, because this show was pretty explosive.
Did
But
everybody
I
just
like.
kill me at the same time? Sorry. It's like I got hit once and then I died.
Hmm.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, I definitely like the show. I like the ending.
Well, I am watching season 2 right now. I'm essentially going 2 episodes per week.
Hmm. What episode are you on right now? Season 2.
So, let's see. The last thing I remember is that Jimmy. Okay, so I guess spoilers for Better Call Saul. So if you are watching season 2 or anything ahead of that, tune out. Or I guess any part of Better Call Saul. But the idea is that Jimmy is trying to. He's working for this company, this law firm, and he's getting, I guess, senior people to like testify that their retirement home might be stealing their um, money, for lack of a better term, and yeah, he makes a commercial which apparently doesn't go well with the firm. And so apparently because of that, Kim gets she becomes like a copy person, or like somebody who just archives things, and he's trying to rectify
Hmm.
that, and he knows that his brother is involved in the situation.
Yes, I remember that episode.
And then at the same time, Mike is trying to get money for his daughter-in-law, but like he doesn't want to kill anybody, and so he gets Tuco arrested, which in order to do that he just takes a serious beating, which is not great. The price of
Yeah, how did you
not
feel about the Tuco cameo?
uh yeah, that wasn't, I mean, I liked it, but that is such an erratic character. Everything gets tense every time he's on screen.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so I guess Jimmy just went to his brother to try to get him to like let Kim do her thing. And he's saying, "Oh, if I quit the law, will you let her go back to doing what she was doing before?"
Hmm.
And I don't know if he will do it, but it certainly seems like that's what he wants.
Yeah, so that certainly was a pretty good episode. I still remember. I think I may have watched it this year, because I basically watched all of Better Call Saul between last year and this year. Um, so yeah, I remember that episode and it was pretty good. Let's see, I guess what were the highlights? I guess, do you think it was interesting how Mike sort of went through all of these lengths to not, take out Tuco? And I guess in a way you can, just say, oh, obviously Tuco has plot armor because he has to show up in Breaking Bad. But uh, didn't you think it was kind of interesting how the character of Mike just sort of, uh, abstained from that from, just going ahead and killing him, and comparing that to how he was in Breaking Bad?
He certainly went a pretty long way to not kill him. I honestly didn't even think about the fact that Tuco is in Breaking Bad for him to actually save him in this chapter. Maybe I just wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, certainly a different set of expectations for the Mike character, considering that in Breaking Bad he's a little less thoughtful about that sort of thing.
I think even at one point, Nacho points out that you went through all this trouble. Like, you got the crap beat out of you. What the hell's the matter with you?
It was the smarter plan though when Mike laid it out that way.
That's true.
Nice. I actually killed the captain. Still trying to look for this underground tunnel that's supposed to lead me to these other ashes, but I'm not seeing it. Do you know where it is? Did you even
So if I
collect them?
remember correctly, I think I know what you're talking about. I think it's like a stairway that leads down.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
something like
probably
that.
towards the... Yeah, I guess if the stream is current, I think where you're fighting that guy, right behind him is probably the area where that should be. You just have to look for it because it's really well secluded.
How many of these folks do I have to kill? Seriously. And, oh, here it is. Nice. Okay. Funny how I missed this entire thing the first time around.
Yeah, I remember last time when we actually hopped on co-op, I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it either. It's really well secluded.
With a whetstone knife, you can use Ashes of War to grant your armaments new skills at Size of Grace. An armament can only have one skill. Adding affinities. Storm Stomp, that's what that's called. And a whetstone knife. Good. Now we can move on from this place. Sure, I'm gonna have to call Storm. Wait, what is the name of the horse?
Torrent.
Yes, Torrent. Well, I can't believe I actually got to the center of the camp without dying. That's the first time that that's ever happened.
Means that your grinding levels is working. So actually, that's kind of a good question. When you've played games before, are you the type of person who, when you're playing an RPG where you level up, are you the type of person that over levels for an encounter and then goes to the boss, or do you, I guess, try to brute force the boss with whatever resources you have and with whatever levels you have? What is more your playstyle?
I would say that given my RPG background, it's mostly grinding levels enough that I don't have to over strategize. Overpowering the boss, if you will. That's just a war menu.
That's fair enough. I would say I fall into the other school, though, because ever since I was a kid, I've always been super impatient, so I've only over-leveled out of necessity.
Fair enough. Every game style is valid as long as it gets the job done. Alright. Let's get past this gate and on to where we need to go.
Do you know, actually, something that took me a while to realize that I think you've been doing, I don't know if you've been doing it purposefully or not, but whenever you block an attack from an enemy, you can actually counterattack right afterwards and cause them to, like, step back a little.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
I think it's like a parry.
Yeah, I actually found out about that, like, the last time that we played. Like, I didn't know that I could do that, so that was interesting.
Kill those wolves again. Alright, let's move forward. Now we're close to that castle. Now I wonder if we should take out these guys. Maybe if I use my wolves. Wait, why can't I use my wolves?
So I actually did look up something just now. I was always curious about that tombstone icon that was above, like, where your items are on the upper left. Apparently that means whenever you see that tombstone icon, it means you can summon those, like, your wolves and stuff.
Oh, I see. Nice.
It says here on this website, it usually appears in areas that are problematic to get through alone. These are usually camps, locations with powerful enemies, or boss arenas. The appearance of a tombstone icon means that a serious battle awaits nearby.
Oh, I see. Hold on a second. So I guess you're only allowed to summon during particular points in the game.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
That's okay. I can take that. Can I actually level up? Oh, I can actually level up. Maybe, excuse me, maybe even twice. So I'm trying to create a paladin build. Confessor. Strength and faith are primary. Now remind me, which is the stat that allows you to increase your weight? Is it vigor or endurance?
I think it's endurance. On your level up screen, you can actually, I think, hit the select button and look at an explanation for each of the attributes.
I don't have a select button. Is it help?
I think so. The one that's not start.
Explanation. A cumulative figure that represents overall attribute strength. You can level up using runes. Total runes held. Okay, endurance. Attribute governing stamina. Also affects robustness. This attribute also determines how heavy your equipment can be. So maybe it is endurance that I need to level up. Nice. I don't know that that got me into a good roll yet, but here's looking forward to it. No, still doing the slow thing. I might just switch shields actually. See if that at least gets me to... Or actually maybe I should change from Great Sword to Standard Sword.
Another thing that you can do is you can swap out some of your like non-used weapons or non-used like items. Like I think you might have a torch, so you can swap off the torch to alleviate a little bit of the weight. Since the torch isn't always necessary, and if you need it, you can just equip it back.
Okay, so it looks like I can still equip a broadsword. Oh, sorry, a straight sword. And still carry my giant shield. And still be medium load. Let's see.
Nice.
Okay, we're back to medium roll. Good. So this is cool because I have my gigantic shield, which is essentially a door, and I can still do my conventional roll. All right, now we're ready to do some damage. These guys again.
If I do a second playthrough through this game, it would be interesting to see how it would be like to play a magic user since the beginning, because I do know there's some classes where you start out with like arcane spells, magic missile.
Wow, seriously? Sometimes I don't understand when you're riding torrents and they do enough damage, sometimes you just dismount. But then other times you just die, and I don't understand what the difference is there.
Yeah, not sure either. I think maybe it's because their attacks land on Torrent as opposed to you. Whereas sometimes they just land on you as opposed to Torrent.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's too realistic.
You want for it to be kind of like Super Mario World, where if you get hit once, Torrent starts like flashing and then he runs away from you. And if you mount back on him,
and it screams and it makes a weird sound.
Also, Torrent would be able to extend his tongue and eat one of the enemies.
Well, at least I collected my runes before that death. A pain. I'm still trying to get the hang of mounted combat. It's a little flighty.
Mhm. Actually did find this out a little bit ago, but they actually restrict you from riding the horse in some areas. Like in the boss fight that I had, they restricted it.
And I don't believe they actually allowed you to use torrent in caves. I'm actually very close to another level up. So maybe if I kill these guys. Despite the fact that I keep losing against them. Why? I don't get it. Seriously, dudes. Alright, here we go. One-on-one, the old honorable way. Look at this new skill. Okay, maybe now I have enough. Yes. Let's go and level up again. Maybe I can increase my weight even further. So I need vigor to be at least, sorry, endurance to be at least 15. Nice. And so maybe
Would definitely
go ahead.
definitely not neglect the vigor, so you always want more HP.
Yeah, but I figured that if I have a big enough shield and I remember when to block, I should be fine. At least for the beginning level. Okay, so it's still considered heavy load if I equip the greatsword. That's fine. What is robustness? Robustness, the resistance your armor offers to blood loss and frostbite. I'm guessing those are status effects.
Yeah, those are debuffs. I haven't run into them yet.
Okay, so I'm willing to take a hit on robustness. Great, now I have a hat. Can't say I like my new look. Ooh, there's a giant there. I wonder if I should challenge it. Wait a second, where am I going? Tell you, these guys regenerate like every 5 seconds. You can never honestly clear a path.
You mean the people you're fighting on the road?
Yeah. And that's supposed to be part
Well, they
of the
respawn whenever
game
you
lore, right?
sit on a bonfire.
Just the fact that they can never die or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but they replenish every time you sit on a bonfire.
Oh, I see. I guess that makes sense. You can't ever really cheese this game, I suppose. Unless you just hide out and start picking off soldiers and then saving and then repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Well, if that's cheesing, then that's my strategy.
Killing boars.
Yeah, you're just hiding in the bushes.
Everything is so dark, it looks like there's a storm. Okay, so I have to get through these guys. Clearly the camera's not my friend here. So, have you been consuming any other pieces of media recently?
Recently, let's see. Well, I have been playing through BioShock 1 lately. Been having fun with that.
Is this the first time that you're going through BioShock 1?
I remember going through BioShock 1 a good while ago, like 10 years ago. And I got through most of the game, it's just that I dropped it off before I actually finished it. But I'm surprised to see how well it's aged, at least for me, because I still find it pretty entertaining.
Well, suppose that is a timeless game. I'm sure I picked it up at some point during some sale, but I've never actually completed it.
It is pretty fun. I think it scratches a similar itch that I think like a Metroid game does, because you're continuously upgrading and getting more guns. So it's similar but different. And also there's a lot of like what do you say? Um, what's the word? It's not backpedaling. It's going backwards in a level, going like through a level and then back in a level.
You mean backtracking?
That just reminds me. Yeah, backtracking. There you go. And that reminds me a lot of Metroid, but in a first-person shooter package.
Did you ever play any of the other Bioshocks?
Nope, I haven't.
Oh, I see.
How about you? Have you been consuming anything good lately?
I think for me it's real. I'm still just every time I get a chance. Wow, that's a deep chasm. Every time I get a chance, I'm either playing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Recently reached a MR3, and otherwise I'm playing this game. And as you can see, I haven't really gotten very far. So that's what I'm doing in terms of games. Where am I?
Nice.
I guess I'm supposed to go into this castle. But what happens if I don't go there? In terms of media, I'm still watching The Boys. I watched episode 1 of season 2. Right after you discovered that the butcher's wife is still alive, and oh, spoilers for The Boys. Also, apparently, the kid that his wife and Homelander had is alive, and he's like, I don't know, 5 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, so actually I left off at the first season, so did you actually... I actually didn't know that you went through the entire first season. I thought the last time that we spoke you were like on episode... Like, I think maybe you were halfway through the first season, maybe a little bit less.
I honestly thought when we talked, I thought that the first season was like 12 episodes, but it's like 5 or 6 or something like
Yeah, it's pretty short.
that. So yeah, I made it to season 2, I guess. So I guess I'm
Yeah,
sorry that I have just spoiled you.
Well, no, that reveal happened at the end of season 1.
Yeah. So I've started season 2.
Yeah, I thought that reveal was pretty crazy. I don't know about you.
I don't. So there's a few things here, and obviously most of them revolve around Homelander. But why was he originally obsessed with that woman? I guess they had like this mother son, but also just like twisted lover kind of a relationship.
Yes. Sort of weird Oedipus complex type relationship.
Yeah, and that's I have been invaded by Recusant Henricus. What does that mean?
I think that means somebody's going to go hunt you and kill you. Unless you kill them.
Well, I am dead. Why was I randomly invaded?
It may be because you were close to an... Because, I don't know, was that person... Do you know if that person was, like another player, or was it... Did it look like an NPC?
How would I know that?
I don't know, did they act like a player? Did they, like, do emotes, did their name have like XX or like pop culture references like Sephiroth?
No, they were called the Recusant Hermitus, which doesn't sound like something that I would put on Twitter.
Then I think it's possible that that was an NPC invasion to kind of like
Teach you that
I know that
people
in
get
some
invaded?
yeah, I know that in some areas they have like scripted invasions, so it's possible that that's what happened.
Well, that's something unusual. Their character outline was red though, so I guess I assumed that it was a player.
Yeah, invasions they typically have the reddish black character model.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they are invading me again.
Then
I,
that's probably a scripted invasion.
what if I leave this arena? Oh, I got killed again. I guess we're gonna have to try and kill him.
That is a pretty mean invader. I have not encountered that one before. Okay, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Alright. Status. Need so many runes to level up. Why am I dead? What the heck? Ladies and gentlemen, please send help.
Do you want me to go over there and help you beat XX
No,
Sephiroth XX?
I'm gonna try at least twice more, because I feel like I just need to time myself properly, and I probably also just need to use my files a bit better than that. What a freaking... That's not what I meant to do. Ugh.
I mean, that's fair enough. I've definitely also gotten dead set on killing certain enemies that really didn't benefit me too much. Like one of the giants that shows up like in that gate where you usually run through with a horse. I decided to fight him, and I got pretty obstinate about trying to kill him because I was annoyed that I couldn't kill him. So I spent like a good hour to hour and a half trying to kill him.
Were you like, I'ma fight him?
Yeah, basically. It did give me a pretty nice chunk of souls or of runes right after I killed him.
Oh, come on. He just happens to have an explosion? What the heck is that? What is that? Alright, one more time. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. I'll swallow my pride. Ridiculous. Like, oh, I happen to have a megaton hammer.
Okay, so actually, since we're on the topic of the boys, I guess what were your impressions of the first season of that show?
I think that they signed me up for a sea story about the deep that I was not interested in the first place. Do you know
That
what I'm
is,
saying?
yes, I am 100% with you there. I don't understand why it's happening, but whenever it's on screen, I'm like, all right, I guess this is happening now.
Obviously, I would say the A story is Huey, the B story is Starfire, or what's her name? It's not Starfire, it's
Starlight?
Starlight, yes. And I would say they're probably almost on equal footing, Starlight and Huey. But then it's just randomly we go into the deep, and it's just like, am I supposed to be rooting for this guy? I actually don't like him.
Yeah, I will say that the one encounter that he has where you see his gills made me physically recoil in real
Oh
life.
yeah, that was gross.
It's not terrible though. I can deal with it.
What? I thought that was my best strategy. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna
You
get
know,
my what?
seeing that guy's exploding hammer move kind of makes me want to have an exploding hammer move myself.
I'm just gonna collect my runes and try to leave. I don't have enough level to do this, or something. Even though I feel like I was pretty close.
I think you could probably get it down, you know, after a few more tries if you like really memorize these patterns. I think you have the damage.
I do, but I also want to do other things right now. I'm sure that I'll come back to this.
So going back to the boys, I guess my impressions were that it was pretty good. I was pretty surprised by the ending because I thought it was going to play out differently. Um, but I guess one of the interesting things to me about the boys was just how much of a, I guess, a social commentary there is around like this whole, like the obsession of VOT and like their social media presence. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's something that is so pervasive in our current society, and I think it's just funny how this show just kind of shines a big giant light to this sort of, you know, care about social media that giant companies have.
Yeah, that was certainly something interesting. I wasn't expecting that that's where that show was gonna go. But I suppose that if we did have superheroes in real life, that is probably something that you'd see.
Yeah, I think it's also funny how they poke fun at the whole MCU. I think they in their universe they call it the VOT cinematic universe, the VCU.
So you say that you haven't seen season 2 yet, right?
That's correct.
Okay, because there is one character that is introduced in the first episode of season 2 uh, that is incredibly interesting, and I'm sure you will like simply because you are watching Better Call Saul.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Are you titillated yet?
Well, wait a minute. Are you talking about how they threw in Gustavo Fring?
Okay, fine.
He does show up in the first season. I think it's like in the last episode,
He
like
did?
right before the boss lady. Yeah, right before the boss lady goes to confront Butcher and um what's his face? Homelander.
I don't
I think
remember
right
that.
before that. Yeah, I think right before that is when, you know, she was super happy because he sort of offers her his job, but you know, in between the lines sort of thing.
Uh huh. No, I
Yeah.
guess I completely forgot about that. But yeah, he's front page in episode 1 of season 2.
I guess since the lady isn't a bad guy anymore, it has to go on to him. Although I will say that the lady was a pretty interesting bad guy because you could definitely see how she was just like this really ambitious person that was almost sociopathic. And like the whole dynamic that she had with Homelander was uncomfortable yet also interesting because of how weird it was.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to understand why they had that connection.
Well, I think it was just to like accentuate how messed up Homelander is, right? Because if you're gonna have a messed up superhero that's apparently like the face of like all goodness, you know, he has to have some kind of messed up origins, which we sort of found out. I will say that one of the gripes that I had near the beginning of the series is that I feel like the motivation of the boys for, you know, wanting to kill the soups wasn't super fleshed out. Like I think it took a little bit And even now, at least in season 1, I'm still a little bit unsure why Mother's Milk and Frenchie are doing it, other than like just for money.
Actually, out of all the boys, my favorite is Frenchie.
Yeah, that's true. He's a pretty likable character. I also
Golden.
think, at least in the first season, one of the interesting things that they do with Butcher is the way that they frame him, because I feel like I feel like they would have made him a little bit more like, I guess sympathetic or relatable, but they totally go completely full out. This guy's kind of crazy as well, especially when they show him like killing that what's it called, the mind reader guy.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yes. Because I totally thought in that scene that he was going to spare him, or at least he was going to like show some kind of clemency.
Did it though? I felt like he was gonna take him out.
I don't know. I guess I just felt that he would have, gone a slightly softer route, maybe because he understood that that guy had a kid. But no. Guess he just went full on Terminator. But to be fair, that mind reader guy did deserve it.
Okay, I got an Ash of War called Wild Strikes, but I died at the same time, I guess. Okay. Try to collect my runes again. Oh, actually, last week I forgot to mention the fact that I did watch half of the movie Lightyear. Have you seen that one?
I have not, no.
The one with Buzz Lightyear, except he is different.
So what do you think about it so far?
It's not what I expected out of a Buzz Lightyear movie. I haven't finished it, so I don't know that I have full thoughts on it.
Fair enough.
Are you thinking about watching it?
I might give it a watch. I haven't. It's not something that's on my radar, but Potentially.
Yeah, certainly when I thought about Buzz Lightyear, the doll, did not make me think of this movie. It actually has a very, I don't want to say it gives me an interstellar vibe, but it certainly does make you think about space travel and the passage of time. At least the first half that I saw. I have to go back and finish it, see if it fulfills that promise.
Hmm.
Finger Reader Crone. Where is this person? You know, one thing that it's become very apparent in this game is that there's a lot of things related to fingers.
That is true. Bro calling finger remedy. Um, I forget what the name of like the religious order in this game is. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Fingers or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And now I am meeting
You, please, I can read them. Your fingers.
the finger reader.
Please, your fingers. Oh, bless you. Head to the foundation of gold tarnished. Traverse Rhea Lucaria, glintstone eventide, and reunite the half-crescents at the grand lift. Oh, but the bridge is collapsed and cannot be crossed. Only, why should that matter? Stormvale Castle still stands tall. You, please, I can read them. You.
Okay.
Traverse.
I guess she's just going to say the same exact thing she said the first time. Fine. This is an interesting location. I don't think we've ever been to this bridge. I wonder what will happen. Nomadic Warriors Cookbook. Guessing that's some sort of a combination menu addition or something like that.
Yeah, I think cookbooks are for your crafting kit.
are these ashes of war?
I think Ashes of War are basically enchantments for your weapon.
Do they go on this all of the same weapon class, or just one specific weapon?
I think it tells you what limitations there are on the weapons.
Gotcha. And of course, there is fall damage in this game, so I don't think I should go there. Alright, I guess we still have to go to Storm Castle, or whatever it's called. Stormwind.
Yeah, it's actually called Stormwind.
Looks like we're just going around in circles. What is this place? Whatever it is, it's higher than the map that we're supposed to be in.
Well, if you're ever stuck, you can always fast travel to the last bonfire you were at.
Actually, you're right. I forgot about that. Past these chumps. You know, that's also one thing that I've noticed from trying to face multiple foes at once. For whatever reason, they have this uncanny level of coordination in which you will take a swing at one of them, and then they reel, and then the person tries to take a swipe at you again. And just as that person is doing that, all other 3 or 4 of them will swing at the exact same time, which prevents you from blocking anything, and that's how you get one shot.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good strategy. I think that's how the people in the military would do it, right?
They would all swing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that goes. Alright, let's just ride in. This is ridiculous. So stupid. Why was that so simple exactly?
What, to walk into the castle?
Yeah. It's like you have like 80 million people out front, but then if you just run in, oh, you're fine. Look at that, there's another rune spot here. What is... I wish I had known that. I would have just done that the first time around.
Well, it certainly is pretty convenient to have your horse. That's why you shouldn't take them for granted.
I don't know, that just makes me annoyed. Okay, now that I have a new site of grace here, I'm probably gonna go back out and kill everybody who was there. Idiots.
It's like, you don't understand. Now I have the power of resurrection behind you.
Okay, do I have enough runes to level up? Once I level up, I actually stop worrying about this, but since I feel like I'm so close to actually leveling up, I actually care. Actually I'm not that close. No point in doing that. Let's just keep moving forward. Oh my god, it's a Keyblade graveyard.
Yeah, is there keyblades there?
Yeah, this is where lots of Keyblade masters met and met their fate. Ooh, cutscene.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Might this be a boss character? I guess it is.
Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell. These foolish ambitions to rest.
What? Okay. Well, that was unfortunate.
So you encountered the first boss, Margit?
Yes, Margot.
Well, I would definitely suggest before you enter the fog gate is that you summon that guy in the sign, the golden sign. That one's an NPC summon.
What is this? Sorcerer Roger.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I guess I'm not gonna be able to get my runes back and then go back out.
No, you're gonna have to beat him if you want your runes back.
I wish I had known that. Oh, and I guess I died again. So is the idea to try to beat him with this guy?
Well, the guy that you summon is definitely gonna help you, but at least in my experience, he only helped a little bit, not a whole lot.
Alright, I guess it's time to get good at this. I might just lose all those runes, I suppose. What the?
Warrior blood must run in thy veins.
The art of passing skill.
Well, that was a bit better, but I guess my support guy died. I wonder if I can summon my wolves at the same time. Hold on a second, real life is calling. Alright, maybe a few more attempts and then I gotta call it a day. Felt like I did better that
That's
time.
good.
Maybe I have to attack more aggressively.
Yeah, I think you actually got him down to more than half health, which is pretty good. Because I remember I struggled to get him down to half health for a while. I usually got him down to like a quarter, and then by that time, my summon died.
I guess I can't really summon my wolves while I have this guy with me. Which is, I guess, okay. Alright. What? What? So now my ashes are at the chasm? Or, well, that's stupid. I guess there's no point in even trying to get those back.
Yeah, I wouldn't get them back at this point.
Oh, wait, they're right here. Look at that. Do I even have anything? Yeah, I have 0. I guess it doesn't even matter what I do at this point anymore. Let's summon Roger. Man, here I was just trying to claim all my runes. So it goes.
You're trying to have an epic battle.
I was trying to have an epic battle. What?
Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished.
Alright.
These foolish ambitions to rest.
Alright, one more time, and if that, I'm calling it. But that was good. That was a good fight. Though I have to say, most of the hits that I land are specifically because he's focusing on Roger.
By the way, whenever he does that animation where he sort of kneels, it is a pretty good opening to just swing at him, or you can also go behind him or directly in front of him, and you can do like a critical hit where you plunge your sword into him and then you kick him back. I guess depending on how good your swings are, it may or may not be worth it to do that, but just so that you're aware, you can do that. One of the things that I used to do like the plunging hit, but for me at least, it was a lot more damage to just swing at him while he was in that kneeling state.
Foolish ambitions to rest.
Alright, maybe one more go. I think maybe my issue is holding my shield up while trying to move. Clearly there are instances where he's not striking and I should probably drop my shield. Oh, actually, holding my shield doesn't really cost my movement speed. Never mind. Maybe I just need to move faster. That's the trick, move faster. Uh, and then I just think this hammer thing is kind of ridiculous to avoid. Okay, one more go. It's not 25 yet. I really
I
use
would
my...
also recommend if you're at the bonfire, switch out your mana flask for a health flask, since you're probably not casting a lot of spells here.
I guess that's true. Good call. Hey, it's this lady.
Forgive me. I've been testing you to see whether or not grace truly does guide you, and whether you are fit to face the challenge that entails. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance. I can take you to the Round Table Hall, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace.
Is she just telling me this because I died so many times?
No, I think she's supposed to tell you that, because she also
Very
told me
well.
that.
Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
It's a place where the tarnished gather. Combat is prohibited.
Yeah, that is a pretty nice hub.
Who is this guy?
Oh, this is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new tarnished made their way to the round table. Very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here. You may let down your guard.
His helmet is made of ears.
Allow me a word of advice. As your senior,
Oh, really?
you are a mere visitor to the round table. Nothing more. A house guest. Yet to earn their keep. Remember your place.
Do you not see it?
There's nothing left.
Guess I
to
never
fear.
noticed before.
Be at your leisure. There's nothing left.
Ah, hello. You must be new here. Well, just call me Dialos. The honor of one's house holds little import in these lands. By the way, have you met a young woman named Lamia on your travels? She's my servant, but fickle as the wind. Take your eyes off her for but a moment and she's good as gone. If you find her, please be sure to tell me.
Okay. Do I still get to go back to where I was, though?
Oh, I see you've just arrived.
Yeah, you're able to.
Welcome to the Round Table Hold. I'm Corin, a man of the cloth. I teach incantations, the strength granted us by the two fingers, and explore the secrets of the Golden Order, so that one day, if a tarnished of the Round Table Hold should become Elden Lord, I might counsel them, ensuring...
Why is
order
he
against
wearing a
powerful,
chariot wheel on his neck?
right and rule over men. By the way, do you still see it? The guidance of grace.
Yes.
You do. Wonderful news. Most tarnished are blind to it these days. You are something of a rare breed. Well, what do you say? Care to learn an incantation of the two fingers?
Oh, and I guess these also cost runes.
May the Golden Order shine through you.
Yeah, I think from that hub is actually where I was able to learn like the first healing spell. And I use that every so often whenever I run out of flasks.
Well, I do have a healing spell right now, so I don't need it just yet. Oh great, there's another invader.
Oh no.
Well, that's wonderful. All right, but I think that does it. I do think I need to go now. We'll just hang there, uh, and I will have to take your advice next time. But that was a good time. I think that I learned a good amount. Go ahead and switch scenes here.
Yeah, that was your first experience with a Dark Souls boss. How do you feel?
I feel like I think I was sufficiently prepared. I need to hone my fighting style. I think that's something that I've neglected thus far. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to learn how to move about. Maybe it just takes a bit more finesse for me to do so. But I think I was pretty close to actually beating that first boss. I might just do that off stream one of these days. But I am certainly looking forward to the next time we meet. I'm assuming that you
Sounds
were
good.
past this particular boss already.
Yeah, I am. And if you want, I guess if you're not through this boss by the next time, I could also hop on as a summon because I'm pretty sure I can help you as a summon, and you can also summon that NPC guy.
That would be amusing. That would be an amusing fight. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just kind of need to study the systems. But in any case, let's call that a wrap for today. Thank you all for tuning into the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. Tune in next week. As I've mentioned before, I do retro games on Thursdays. I'll probably be doing either Banjo-Kazooie or Super Metroid. Fridays, it's Action Corner with Travis Strikes Again or Hades, followed by Elden Ring, which is our current game du jour. Any final words, John?
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone. And stay thirsty, Elkin. We'll see you again.